The rain hammered the windshield like the sky itself was mourning. Noah gripped the wheel of his battered pickup truck, squinting into the curtain of water. Another day, another failed interview. His shirt still clung damply to his skin, and the only thing in his wallet was a faded photo of his daughter Emma. Please like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. In the back seat, 6-year-old Emma slept soundly, her tiny hands wrapped around her old stuffed rabbit. Noah glanced at her in the mirror. Love and sorrow tangled in his eyes. She was all he had left. 2 years ago, Noah had lost his wife. After that, everything else had crumbled. The house, the job, the savings, even his confidence. But not Emma. Never Emma. His fingers tightened around the steering wheel as he turned onto the narrow road that led to their tiny rented apartment. The windshield wipers squeaked a sad rhythm, matching the beat of his weary heart. Every day felt like a losing race, but he wouldn't let Emma see how close he was to giving up. He couldn't. The heater coughed weakly, blowing barely any warmth into the cold cabin. Noah sighed, watching a misty patch form on the window. He wiped it with the sleeve of his jacket. How much longer could he pretend everything was fine? The world felt colder every day, but he couldn't give up. Not yet. Not for her. As he rounded a bend, something bright flashed on the side of the road. His heart jolted. He hit the brakes hard, the truck sliding slightly on the muddy shoulder. Noah's heart pounded. He leaned forward, squinting through the rain. Something was there. Leaving Emma sleeping, he stepped out into the storm, his boots sinking into the mud. At first, he thought it was some abandoned Halloween decoration. But as he approached, realization struck him like a punch. A woman stood chained to a tree, her white dress torn and filthy. She was soaked through, trembling violently. Her face was smeared with mud and tears, her wide eyes locking onto his with a desperate, silent plea. He froze for a moment, stunned by the sight. "Hey, are you okay?" he called out, his voice almost swallowed by the pounding rain. The woman didn't answer. She didn't even move. Noah looked around wildly. No car, no house, no sign of anyone else nearby. Just her. Alone. His own problems, empty bank accounts, overdue rent, the pressure of raising Emma, suddenly felt small. This woman needed help. And something deep inside him refused to walk away. Noah shrugged off his jacket and gently draped it over the woman's shivering shoulders. She flinched, but didn't resist. "You're safe now," he whispered, though he wasn't sure she could even hear him over the roar of the rain. He ran back to the truck, grabbing a rusted tool from under the seat. It took a few minutes of struggling, but he managed to cut the chain. The woman stumbled forward, too weak to stand on her own. Noah caught her carefully, guiding her toward the truck. Emma stirred as Noah opened the door, but she didn't wake. He laid the soaked stranger across the back seat, checking to make sure Emma still clutched her rabbit. Then he slid behind the wheel, heart racing with adrenaline and fear. Who was she? What had happened to her? The woman didn't speak, only shivered silently under his jacket. Noah threw the truck into gear, heading quickly toward their little apartment, headlights slicing through the rain. At home, Noah carried the woman inside. The apartment was cramped, peeling paint, a humming old fridge, a heater that rattled like it was coughing, but it was dry and safe. Gently, he laid her down on the threadbare couch and wrapped her in every blanket he could find. Emma rubbed her sleepy eyes, peeking over at the stranger with a curious frown. Noah knelt down beside the woman. "Can you tell me your name?" he asked softly. For a long moment, there was only the sound of rain hammering the windows. Then her lips moved. "Sophia," she whispered, so faintly that Noah almost didn't catch it. "Okay, Sophia," he said, his voice calm and low. "You're safe now." She closed her eyes, exhaustion winning the battle. Noah sat back on his heels, feeling the weight of everything hit him at once. He didn't have room for anyone else in his life. But leaving her out there? Unthinkable. That night, Noah couldn't sleep. He sat in a worn chair, watching Sophia breathe, making sure she stayed warm under the blankets. Emma, still small and trusting, had gone back to sleep easily. But Noah's mind raced. Who would chain a woman to a tree and leave her like that? Why hadn't anyone else stopped to help? His world had been drowning already. But somehow tonight it felt like a tiny light had appeared, a fragile hope he didn't dare trust. Morning came gray and heavy with mist. Sophia sat at the kitchen table, wrapped in one of Noah's old flannel shirts. Her hair was still damp, clinging to her face, but her eyes were clearer now. Noah poured her a cup of coffee, setting it gently in front of her. She took it with trembling hands. Emma sat on the floor nearby, coloring in a battered notebook, casting curious glances at their strange new guest. "You're safe here," Noah said quietly, pulling out a chair for himself. Sophia nodded but said nothing. Her fingers wrapped tightly around the coffee cup as if it might disappear if she let go. Noah didn't push her. Instead, he let the quiet fill the room, punctuated only by Emma's humming as she colored. It wasn't much, but it was peace. And after what Sophia had been through, Noah figured peace was the best gift he could offer her for now. Days passed. Sophia didn't say much, but she stayed. She helped where she could, folding laundry, sewing a tear in Emma's stuffed rabbit, fixing a broken cabinet hinge with surprising skill. Noah watched her with a kind of quiet awe. She moved like someone trying not to take up space, but every small thing she did stitched a little piece of their broken home back together. One morning, Noah came into the living room and found Emma and Sophia sitting on the floor, surrounded by crayons and paper. Emma was laughing, a bright, bubbling sound Noah hadn't heard in what felt like forever. Sophia smiled shyly, coloring alongside her. Noah leaned against the doorframe, something tight in his chest loosening. Maybe it wasn't just Sophia who needed saving. Maybe they all did. Later that night, after Emma had gone to bed, Noah and Sophia sat at the small kitchen table. The heater buzzed and clanked in the corner, doing its best. Sophia stared out the window, her profile soft in the low light. Then she spoke, her voice so quiet Noah almost missed it. "I was supposed to be married," she said, her fingers tracing the rim of her coffee mug. Noah sat still, listening, knowing this was not a story to interrupt. Sophia's voice cracked as she continued, still not looking at him. "I didn't love him. I didn't even know him. My family said love was a luxury, that marriage was duty, honor." She shook her head, slightly, a tear slipping down her cheek. Noah's hands curled into fists under the table. He stayed silent, letting her talk. "I ran away before the wedding," Sophia said, her voice trembling. "They found me, said I brought shame to the family." She turned, meeting Noah's eyes for the first time that night. "They chained me up, left me there to think about what I'd done." Noah's stomach twisted with anger and sorrow. "How could they do that to you?" he whispered, barely trusting his own voice. Sophia shrugged, a bitter smile flashing across her face. "They said it was better than death. A chance to learn." She looked back out the window. "I thought no one would ever stop. That maybe I wasn't worth saving." Noah stood up slowly and walked over to her. His hand hesitated for just a second before resting gently on her shoulder. "You matter," he said firmly, his voice thick with emotion. "You always mattered." Sophia's eyes filled with fresh tears, and this time she didn't turn away. She let them fall, silent and free, while Noah stayed there, a quiet anchor in her storm. In that small, broken kitchen, two battered hearts began to stitch themselves back together. The days that followed were quiet but warmer. Sophia and Emma grew closer, laughing over board games and silly drawings. Noah found himself smiling more often, a strange, unfamiliar feeling. Every night, after Emma went to bed, he and Sophia would sit on the porch, sipping cheap tea, saying little. They didn't need words. The silence between them wasn't heavy anymore. It was soft, healing. One evening, As they sat watching fireflies dance in the dark, Sophia spoke again. "I want to find work," she said, her voice steady. Noah nodded. "We'll figure it out together," he promised. Sophia smiled then, a real smile, not the careful one she used to wear. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for everything." Noah shook his head. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "We're just surviving together." Sophia started volunteering at a local shelter soon after. She helped other women who wore the same hollow look she had once worn. Noah would drive her there after dropping Emma off at school. Every time Sophia walked into the shelter, her shoulders straightened, her voice grew stronger. Noah watched her with pride blooming quietly inside him. She wasn't just healing, she was helping others heal too. Emma, meanwhile, thrived. She brought home crayon drawings of her family, always 3 figures now. One drawing showed Noah, Emma, and Sophia holding hands under a bright yellow sun. Noah pinned that one right onto the fridge, smiling every time he passed by it. Sometimes, late at night, he'd find Sophia standing there too, just staring at it with a small, unreadable smile on her face. One Saturday morning, Noah found Sophia in the tiny kitchen, struggling with a broken toaster. She looked up, cheeks pink with frustration. "I think this thing hates me," she muttered. Noah chuckled and stepped closer. "Nah, it's just stubborn." "Like you," he teased gently. Sophia rolled her eyes but smiled. Moments like these, small, silly, ordinary, wove a new kind of life around them, fragile and precious. Spring came slowly that year. The days grew longer, the air softer. Noah patched up the old porch. Sophia planted a few flowers in chipped pots, and Emma chased butterflies in the yard. It wasn't the life Noah had imagined years ago, but somehow it was better. It was real. It was messy. It was theirs. And most nights, as he lay listening to the quiet hum of the apartment, he realized he was no longer waiting for life to get better. It already had. One evening, after Emma had fallen asleep with her stuffed rabbit tucked under her chin, Sophia found Noah sitting alone on the porch. She sat beside him, their shoulders brushing lightly. For a long time, they just listened to the crickets and the wind in the trees. Finally, Sophia spoke, her voice barely more than a whisper. "You saved me," she said. Noah shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "You saved yourself. I just got lucky enough to find you." After that night, something shifted between Noah and Sophia. They didn't talk about it, didn't rush it. They simply kept choosing each other in small ways. Sophia made Noah coffee before work. Noah fixed the wobbly kitchen chair Sophia always hated. Emma started calling out, "Mom! Dad!" without thinking, and no one corrected her. Love had found them, quiet and steady, like rain soaking into thirsty ground. One Saturday, Noah took Sophia and Emma to the park. It wasn't anything fancy, just swings, squeaky seesaws, a grassy hill, but Emma loved it. Sophia pushed her on the swings, her laughter ringing through the warm afternoon air. Noah sat on a bench nearby, watching them with a full heart. For the first time in years, he wasn't worrying about tomorrow. He was living today. And today was beautiful. As Sophia helped Emma tie her shoe, she glanced up at Noah. Their eyes met across the playground. No words needed. Just a quiet promise passed between them, invisible but strong. After everything, the pain, the loss, the heartbreak, they had still found something worth holding on to. They had found each other. That evening, back at home, Emma danced barefoot across the living room, singing a silly made-up song. Sophia laughed, clapping along. Noah sat on the couch, watching them, feeling like the richest man in the world. It wasn't the life he had once dreamed of, but maybe that dream had been too small anyway. What he had now, love, laughter, hope, was bigger than anything he could have ever imagined. Later, after Emma had been tucked into bed, Noah and Sophia sat on the porch again. The stars blinked faintly overhead. Noah reached for her hand, their fingers entwining naturally. Sophia leaned her head against his shoulder. They didn't need to talk. Everything they needed was right here, in the steady beat of each other's hearts, in the quiet night wrapped around them like a blanket. Sophia spoke first, her voice soft against the darkness. "I used to think broken things should just be thrown away," she said. Noah squeezed her hand gently. "We're not broken," he said. "We're just changed." Sophia smiled, a real, wide smile that lit up her whole face. "Changed," she repeated as if testing the word. "I like that better." Noah kissed the top of her head, feeling peace settle deep inside him. The months rolled by gently. Noah's maintenance job at the school grew steadier. Sophia began working part-time at the shelter, officially hired to help with counseling. Emma thrived, drawing endless pictures of their little family and proudly showing them off to anyone who would listen. Their apartment still had peeling paint and a creaky heater, but somehow it didn't feel broken anymore. It felt like home. One evening, Emma climbed onto Noah's lap, her small arms wrapping tightly around his neck. "Daddy," she said seriously, "this is the best home ever." Noah blinked hard against the sudden sting in his eyes. Sophia smiled from across the room, her hands busy knitting a scarf. "She's right, you know," Sophia said, her voice warm. Noah smiled back, feeling gratitude settle over him like a second skin. After Emma fell asleep that night, Noah and Sophia sat once more on the porch, hands twined together. Fireflies blinked lazily across the dark yard. Sophia leaned into him, and Noah rested his cheek against her hair. They didn't talk about the past anymore. They didn't need to. They had survived it. They had built something stronger from the ruins. Something unbreakable. Voiceover. Sometimes the broken save the broken. And when love is given freely, even by those who have nothing left, it comes back as a miracle. Beneath the starlit sky, Noah, Sophia, and little Emma had found their miracle. Not because life had spared them pain, but because they had chosen love anyway. And in the end, that choice was their greatest triumph.